While we look down at our phones, they'll drop a bomb from a drone, then an explosion. We should've known it. We stood on top of mountains, we've been to space before. We had our dogs and houses, we dug up dinosaurs. We built those bombs are dropping, we fought in all their wars. Now that the sky...
I told you guys 3 months ago that Barack Obama was gonna put out this movie about the apocalypse and we needed to watch it. Literally, the people who were making this movie for Barack Obama said that all of his notations and the way that he wanted this film to be done scared the shit out of them because it felt so real. And Barack Obama came out himself and said he's adding stuff that he learned while being president to make this a real apocalypse seeming movie. If you are a conspiracy theorist or one of the woke people, you will know that this movie is a warning. It's not just for shits and giggles. Barack Obama has showed us exactly what the apocalypse looks like. And contrary to belief, it ain't zombies and it ain't meteor showers. This movie literally talks about war. Over the entire movie, the people who sound the craziest end up being right. The people that you see throughout the movie saying, oh, this is war, this is attack from Koreans, this is for outside job, this ain't no end of the world, this is someone doing this for war, ended up being right. If you haven't seen the movie, there are a couple spoilers, but I am talking about Leave the World Behind on Netflix. It is centered around two families experiencing the apocalypse together. One family owns the home and the other family was in this home and it was being used as an Airbnb, but for whatever reason, the owner comes back and says he knew to come back because of his higher end clients. He then goes on to talk about how someone in a higher up, he can't say their name, was laughing and joking with him, and he looked him dead in the face and said, I wish you could come with me. Lo and behold, this higher up doesn't explain what he means, and then another friend speaks to the same person to move around his money, and he makes a joke. He says this man who is a higher up and well known in the business world and has something to do with defense communication looks him straight in the face and says, oh, you know, I'm just going to my annual meeting with the rest of the evil cabal that runs the world, and says that he wished that he could take this guy with him. So apparently the day before this apocalypse started, he spoke to one of his friends, and another one of his friends says that he's going away, and he makes the same joke that the other man made, saying, oh, what are you going to this evil cabal with the rest of the world? I thought that was only during the winter solstice. And he said that friend didn't even laugh. He told him take care of himself and hung up the phone. If you know anything about the winter solstice is also known as Yule, which is what Christmas was stolen from because it's a pagan holiday. But that's another story for another thing. And then there are these planes that come flying across the town and they drop these red papers. And no one knows what the red papers say because they are written in Arabic, and the son sees one of the papers and says, I know this says death to America. So now everybody's freaking out because they start hearing these noises as well. These high-pitched noises, and the son's teeth begin to fall out. And they go to a neighbor's house to try to get help, and the neighbor's like staring them down, trying to fight. They have guns at each other because he won't give him medicine, and the neighbor's going on about, oh, yeah, this is an outside job, this is terrorism, da-da-da-da-da. It could be the radiation from the noises you've been hearing that are causing his teeth to fall out. And as you're watching this, you're like, this sounds crazy. You guys, the apocalypse isn't zombies. The apocalypse isn't even disease, really. You know what this movie says the apocalypse is? Someone infiltrating the central government and literally taking America down just by taking out our Wi-Fi and cell phone and TV communication. And then everything after that is when we turn on each other and it becomes a civil war. Yeah. Obama, you told me I know what's going on.
19 states have seceded.
The
United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America. The so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
They're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Flooded.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
States have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America. The so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
They're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Flooded.
Every time I survived a war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
You cannot make this shit up. Like, you can't. Lo and behold, just 9 hours ago, there was an announcement made about a new movie called Civil War coming out. And I know what you're thinking. Why should we give a shit? Why should we care? What are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. It's because literally the last 48 hours, there have been so many events that have directly correlated with this movie that I find it very hard to believe that people are still saying it's BS. I shit you not. Leave the World Behind on Netflix was just released December 8th. And here we are a couple of days later, and everything in that movie that quote unquote talked about how the apocalypse was actually a civil war and the steps leading up to it has already happened. Only was the timeline given in this movie Winter Solstice, which is literally the beginning of December all the way up until around the end. And we haven't even made it past a couple days, and we have already seen most of the things, which I'm going to show you the movie says leads up to what they think is the apocalypse. This movie being released called Civil War talks about a civil war breaking out in Texas, and Texas going up against the U.S. with guns and basically turning into a massive civil war. But what really boggles my brain is the opening scene in the movie Civil War that comes out in 2024 is also the closing scene for freaking Leave the World Behind. And Leave the World Behind, the city that all this was centered around was Manhattan, New York. Yeah, that's exactly where this film starts, the Civil War film. Not only that, let's get into the actual events that directly correlate with what's been going on. First off, if y'all want to go see the trailer for the Civil War movie that's coming out next year in 2024, I suggest everyone go watch it, because it's crazy how now apocalyptic scenarios are getting really, really real. It used to be zombies. It's not zombies anymore, guys. It's literally real world events. But you can go watch it because I can't post it on here. I don't want to get in trouble for copyright infringement. But yes, so let's get into it. This is why I say that whole Civil War movie plot is crazy, because it starts off in Texas no longer being a part of the U.S. and going up against them. And little do a lot of people know that Texas goes to vote to leave the U.S. next year. So this movie literally is giving foreshadowing. I don't doubt it. And if you don't believe me, here's the latest news article. This one came out December 1st. But the one that I'm talking about, where they're saying they are actually getting one step closer to voting next year on Texas leaving the U.S., that was on the radio this morning. And in the movie Leave the World Behind, do you guys remember when no one knew what was going on because they had no communication with their satellites, they couldn't do any internet, and they couldn't communicate with each other because their phones weren't working, and then all of a sudden they got these CBS News articles in this movie, and they disappeared? Yeah, look what just happened 2 days ago, i.e. the Washington Post. I can't say it because I don't want to get my account banned. I'm already in a little bit of trouble for other creators stealing my information and posting it. But yeah, read that and tell me that did not happen in Leave the World Behind, the movie. Also have to somewhat block this news article because, again, I don't want to get banned. But yeah, you remember those red leaflets in the movie Leave the World Behind that were dropped, and only the son knew what they were because he played games, and everybody was like, well, why would this be here? They don't even belong here. That's a whole nother country. Yeah, that already happened the day before the movie was dropped, as well as recently. I just couldn't find anything on the ones that were dropped recently that caused a lot of confusion to the people in, you know, where. Yeah, so coincidence? I think not. Then in the movie, you also have all of those Tesla Model 3s that were on autopilot that drove themselves into each other to literally block any roads in and out of Manhattan to the inner city of New York. Oh, and what just happened 6 hours ago? 2 million Teslas were recalled because of autopilot issues. In other words, the things that will let the cars drive by themselves. 6 hours ago. You cannot make this up. Boom. Now we have Kirsten Dunst coming out with this movie in 2024 called Civil War that initiates in Texas. The same thing that the other movie that people are calling predictive programming said would happen. Y'all think this is a coincidence? I don't care what nobody say. No one's fear-mongering. No one cares to even instill fear on anyone. It's honestly just educating. You can educate yourself, and if something scares you, it should give you a thirst for knowledge. Simple enough. I'm not saying anything else about it. I promise this will probably be my last video on this because I don't want to get a lot of hate. But yes, it's suspicious.
Americans are panicking over these deer videos that have gone viral yesterday across places in the United States, including New York and Mount Rushmore. The reason is because of the recent movie Leave the World Behind on Netflix, produced by former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And in case you haven't seen it, it's about how the US gets occupied and shut down completely by the whole world, where other countries around the world shut down all our satellites, communication systems, send radio frequency microwave weapons, and eventually attack the cities. Coming a day after the US deciding to veto the ceasefire request in Palestine, where other countries of the world are demanding an immediate ceasefire. But the US denied that. Many countries are now thinking of how to make it happen. But what's the deal with these deer videos? These videos are CGI and are not real. But what do you think about this? Is the US pissing off other countries by their international intervention supporting Israel and Ukraine? And have you seen the movie, and what do you think about former President Obama producing the movie?